Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to walk you through making some delicious sourdough pizza, and I will show you the whole process from start to finish. That's from mixing the dough all the way to topping and baking. This recipe and process is almost the same as making sourdough bread, but there are a few differences in the steps. We absolutely love this pizza in my family, and even the leftovers taste amazing. Alright, let's dive in and get started. First things first, we need to get our sourdough starter ready. To feed it, mix 20 grams of starter with 50 grams of water and 50 grams of flour. Let it sit for about 6 to 8 hours, and it should be bubbly and active when we are ready to use it. Once your starter is ready, we are moving on to the dough. Grab a large bowl and add 350 grams of water, along with 100 grams of your bubbly starter. When you add the starter, you should see it float on top. That's a good sign. It means your starter is full of bubbles and ready to go. Mix it up until the starter dissolves. Then add 500 grams of strong flour and stir everything together. You will knead the dough until it's just combined. It will be sticky and shaggy, but that's totally normal. Cover it up and let it rest for 30 minutes. This step helps the flour fully hydrate and gives the dough a great texture. After the dough has rested, sprinkle 11 grams of salt over it and add just a tablespoon of water to help it mix in. The water will help the salt dissolve faster. Then, if you'd like, you can add 1 tablespoon of olive oil for extra richness. Give it a good mix, starting by pinching the dough and then knead using the slap and fold technique. Keep kneading until the dough becomes smooth and passes the gluten window test. To check, stretch the dough, and if it doesn't drip, you are good to go. Once it's ready, cover the dough and let it rest in a warm place for another 30 minutes. Now that the dough has rested, we are going to do 3 rounds of stretch and folds, with 30 minutes of rest in between each. Wet your hands, then stretch one side of the dough and fold it over itself. Repeat this with all sides. Once you're done, cover the dough and let it rest for 30 minutes in a warm spot. For the second stretch and fold, repeat the same process. You will notice that the dough becomes smoother and easier to work with. Again, cover it up and let it rest for another 30 minutes. For the third and final stretch and fold, repeat the same process, but this time, after you're done, cover the dough and let it rest for 3 hours in a warm place, about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, until it has doubled in size and is well proofed. Okay, once your dough is nice and proofed, it's time to divide it. Carefully transfer the dough to your working surface. It should easily separate from the bowl if it's properly proofed. Your dough will be sticky, but just work with some flour and a scraper. It's very workable. At this point, you can decide how many pizzas you want to make. I usually weight the dough and divide it into 3 equal portions, which gives me 3 medium-sized pizza. Each piece will be about 320 grams. Once divided, shape each portion into a ball. Use a little flour, then fold all the edges of the dough toward the center. Flip it over and using your palms gently roll it into a ball. Repeat this for all portions. Now you have 2 options. The first option is to bake right away. Just leave the dough on the counter to rest, preheat the oven and prepare your pizza toppings, and you're ready to bake. The second option is for cold proofing. If you want to take your time and let the dough develop all this richness, place each dough ball into a separate greased container with a little olive oil. Cover them up and then place them in the fridge for at least 12 hours. You can even leave them for longer, up to 48 hours for a deeper flavor. So, as you can see, I'm going with the cold proofing option today. After your dough has proofed overnight, take it out of the fridge at least 1 to 1.5 hours before you plan to bake. We just need to let the dough warm up and come to room temperature. To do this, I sprinkle some semolina flour on my surface and place the dough on top. Then I shape it into a ball again. Once that's done, I cover it with plastic wrap and a towel and let it warm up. This step makes it much easier to work with when you are ready to shape your pizzas. Next, while the dough is resting, let's make our pizza sauce. For the sauce, heat 50 grams of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a saucepan over low heat. Add 4 cloves of minced garlic and sauté for about a minute until fragrant. Then add 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes and cook until the oil is golden. After that, add a 28-ounce can of diced tomato and mix well. Season with 1 teaspoon each of dry oregano and dry thyme. Then add a tablespoon of granulated sugar. Season with salt and pepper to taste and mix well. Add a half cup of water, stir, and at the end add 1 sliced onion. Let it boil, then cover and simmer for about 25 minutes. When the sauce is ready, carefully remove the onion from it and transfer the sauce into a blender or food processor. If you want a smooth consistency, use the blender. If you prefer a thicker texture, use the food processor. After blending, return the sauce to the saucepan and set it aside until we are ready to use it. Also, we need to preheat our oven at least 1 hour before baking at the maximum temperature possible, with the pizza stone placed inside. This will ensure the stone gets really hot, giving us that perfect crispy crust when we bake the pizza. I like to place the pizza stone on the top level of the oven for the best results. And of course, while your dough is warming up and the oven is preheating, you can prepare all your pizza toppings. Today I'm making 3 types of pizza. The first one is a classic pepperoni with jalapenos and mushrooms. The second one has Canadian bacon, pineapples and onions. And for the third I'm going with Italian sausage, olives and mushrooms. Now it's time to shape the pizza. Take one of your dough balls, adding a little more semolina flour to prevent it from sticking, and gently stretch it out with your hands. Work from the center outwards, being careful not to deflate all the air pockets. Then place the dough on your wrist and with a circular motion stretch it carefully. Once you've shaped it, I like to place it on parchment paper to avoid the risk of it sticking to the peel. Then I finish shaping it on the parchment paper. Now let's assemble the pizza. Start by adding your sauce, spread it evenly across the dough, leaving a small border around the edges for that nice crust. Next, add your mozzarella cheese and then pile on your toppings. Once you finish adding your toppings, sprinkle the pizza with a little olive oil to help it crisp up and get that golden finish. Now place it in the oven and bake for about 10 minutes or until it's deep golden brown. Once your pizza is ready, carefully take it out of your oven. Let it cool for a couple of minutes before slicing so the cheese has time to set. Then cut your pizza into slices and it's ready to serve. That's it, you've just made delicious homemade sourdough pizza from scratch with your favorite toppings. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and please don't forget to like and leave some supportive comments. Thank you and I will see you in the next video.